All right, welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. Glad to have you all here. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so we can keep bringing you these deep dives into all sorts of fascinating stuff. Today, we're going to be talking about the Time War. Now, we've talked about the Time War before,
Right.
but today we're going to really try to unpack it.
Yeah.
What caused it, the Doctor's role in it, and how it affected everything, how it affected the Doctor, the universe.
Well, and what I think is really interesting about the Time War is that it's this kind of unspoken presence throughout the Doctor's timeline. It's this shadow, this
Like a ghost.
yeah, this tragedy
Yeah.
that,
That hangs over everything.
shapes so much of who the Doctor is, even though we don't really see it that often on screen.
Yeah, so, okay, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
What actually started this Time War?
Well, I mean, at its core, it's the struggle between the Time Lords and the Daleks.
Right, the Doctor's people?
Exactly. They're both so powerful. They both think they're right, and they're willing to do whatever it takes.
To win.
Yeah. To prove that they're right.
And they both want completely opposite things, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Time Lords are often seen as these guardians of time and space.
Right. But are they really that benevolent?
They can be a little arrogant, a little controlling, and...
Like they think they know best for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And their attempts to control things, particularly the Daleks, may have actually made things worse.
So you're saying the Time Lords trying to, manage the Daleks might have actually, caused the whole Time War?
It's a tough question, but... looking at the sources you provided, there are a lot of ethical questions about the Time Lords, interfering, meddling.
Did they have the right?
Yeah. Did they make things worse?
Trying to do good, but actually causing harm.
Yeah, and in this case, the stakes are so high.
Right.
We're talking about a war across all of time and space.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the consequences could be just unimaginable.
Exactly. And right in the middle of all this is the Doctor.
This Time Lord who's all about peace.
Always trying to find a different way.
And understanding.
A peaceful solution.
But with the Daleks, I mean, how do you even reason with them?
Right. Their whole thing is extermination.
Yeah.
Getting rid of anything that's not a Dalek.
If you're not a Dalek, you're just trying away.
Exactly. They are just committed to their ideology. There's no room for compromise, no diplomacy, just hate and destruction.
And that's what makes them so scary.
It really is. And dangerous.
So the Doctor's in this awful position, having to end the war by destroying both the Daleks and the Time Lords. The Doctor's own people. I mean...
Wow. That is just a huge burden for the Doctor.
I mean, it's a decision that just hangs over them.
Yeah. It's a defining moment.
Shapes their whole being.
Mm-hmm. It makes the Time War more than just a war. It's a personal tragedy.
Yeah.
It really forces them to question everything they believe in, their values, the sanctity of life.
Yeah. And ultimately, they have to violate those principles.
To save the universe.
To save everything.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the moment, this weapon, this
right.
thing that the Doctor uses. But what exactly was the moment? And, how did using it affect the Doctor?
Well, the moment was more than just a weapon. It was this sentient entity, this being, with incredible power over time and reality.
Wow.
It was basically a weapon of mass destruction, but with a consciousness, and using it really messed with the Doctor's head.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, to even think about using something like that, knowing what it would do.
It must have been just awful.
But what choice did they have?
The sources paint a really bleak picture. It was desperate. The Time War was out of control. Realities were at stake. The Daleks were just unleashing these crazy weapons, warping time, rewriting history. It was just chaos.
So the Doctor had to choose between destroying everything or sacrificing their own people.
It was a terrible choice.
Their home planet, everything. I mean, how do you even begin to deal with that kind of guilt?
That's something they'll carry forever.
Yeah.
It affects every regeneration.
Everything they do.
Every choice.
And it's what makes them so interesting, right?
Absolutely. It's that struggle that makes the Doctor so relatable.
This constant battle.
Mm-hmm. With their own demons.
Okay, but we've been talking a lot about the Doctor. What about the Daleks? I mean, what were they doing during all this? Was it just about conquering the universe, or was there something more?
The Daleks are, they're fascinating because they take their beliefs to the extreme. And during the Time War, it was all about their destiny. It wasn't just about conquering. It was something deeper.
Like it was in their DNA or something.
Exactly. The Daleks believe they're the top of the evolutionary ladder, the only ones worthy of existing. Everything else is just an imperfection.
That need to be eliminated.
Yeah, wiped out. And in the Time War, that meant the Time Lords.
Because they're the biggest threat, right?
The Time Lords had the technology, the knowledge of time and space.
The only ones who could really challenge them.
Exactly, the Daleks saw them as a rival, a threat to their right to rule.
So that's what pushed them to those extremes.
Yeah, to develop those devastating weapons and use such ruthless tactics.
Just to win at any cost.
And that's what makes them so terrifying.
Yeah, it's not just about conquest, it's about eliminating anything that gets in their way.
Exactly, no empathy, no compassion. Just pure hatred.
But they are smart, right?
No, absolutely. They're cutting, they're strategic.
It's not just mindless violence.
No, they're master strategists. They'll manipulate time itself to get what they want.
And that's what makes them the perfect enemy for the Doctor.
Yeah, it's a battle of wits.
Yeah. Across the universe.
A chess match.
With the highest stakes imaginable.
And it changes the Doctor forever. Even after the war ends, they carry that weight.
The trauma of the Time War.
It's a turning point. Shapes their personality, their relationships, their whole outlook on the universe.
Yeah, they have to confront that darkness.
Their own potential for violence.
The terrible choices you have to make sometimes. When you're facing something like that.
It's a lot to deal with.
But the Doctor never gives up, right?
That's what makes them so inspiring.
They keep believing in good.
They never lose hope.
Even after all that.
They keep fighting.
It's amazing, really.
It is.
But the Time War really changed how the Doctor sees their companions.
In what way?
They become even more important
Yeah.
after the Time War.
They offer comfort, connection, remind the Doctor what's worth fighting for.
Like a reminder of their humanity.
Exactly, a connection to the human experience. The simple things in life.
The things the Daleks want to destroy.
The joys and the sorrows, the things that make life worth living.
It's like the Time War made the Doctor need companions even more.
I think so. They need that connection.
To help them through it all.
To keep them grounded.
Yeah, to help them face the universe. And all the pain that comes with it.
Companions become more than just travelers. They're anchors, confidants, a source of strength.
They help the Doctor heal.
Yeah, and grow.
And remember what it means to be the Doctor.
Exactly. That wonder, that joy.
Okay, so we talked about the Time War itself, but what about the specific moments, the things that happened during the war?
Well, the biggest one for the Doctor was using the moment.
Right, that was the climax.
The turning point, the start of the Doctor's journey to healing.
But we talked about the moment being sentient. How did the Doctor even get that weapon?
It's a bit of a mystery. Some say it was given to them.
By, like, a higher power?
Yeah, something that saw the Doctor as the only one who could make the choice.
The choice of whether to use it or not.
To destroy both the Time Lords and the Daleks. To end the war, but at a terrible cost.
What a decision to have to make.
I can't imagine.
Genocide or endless war. That would haunt you forever.
Definitely, but what happened after the Doctor used the moment?
Well, it ended the war, right?
It did, but the Time Lords were gone.
Gallifrey destroyed. The Doctor was the last of their kind.
Alone in the universe.
Carrying the weight of all those deaths.
It had a huge impact on the Doctor. So much guilt, so much trauma. It shattered their belief in themselves.
And the universe.
Well, the war was over. The Daleks were gone, for now. But the scars remained.
Everywhere.
The universe was changed forever.
And the Doctor had to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, and find a way to move on.
In a universe they barely recognized.
It was at the beginning.
But a really tough one.
Absolutely. The Time War might have been over, but the battle wasn't won.
It was more like the start of a new kind of battle.
The battle with themselves.
Yeah, against the memories, the guilt.
The Time War was a catalyst. It forced the Doctor to change.
To face their own darkness.
And the fragility of the universe.
It's what makes the Time War so fascinating. It's not just a war story.
It's a story about trauma.
Loss, redemption.
It challenged the Doctor in a way that nothing else ever has.
And it made them more real.
More human.
Despite being an alien.
Yeah, it allowed the writers to explore these deeper themes.
War, trauma, hope.
It added a new dimension to the Doctor.
Okay, so the Time War affected the Doctor, affected their companions. But what about the Daleks? Were they really defeated? Or did the Time War just change them?
It's wild how, even when they lose, the Daleks still have this hold on the Doctor.
Like they can't escape them.
Yeah, that's part of what makes them so scary. They always come back.
Stronger.
They adapt, they evolve.
So even after the moment, they weren't totally wiped out?
Not completely.
They found a way to survive.
Some of them did. The sources are a little vague on the details.
But they're still out there.
Oh, yeah, and they've been a thorn in the Doctor's side ever since.
It's like this never-ending cycle. The Doctor can never really defeat them.
They just keep coming back.
Like this force of nature.
That's a good way to put it.
The Doctor can push them back, but they can never truly get rid of them.
And that's what makes their story so interesting.
This constant struggle.
Yeah, it's about good versus evil.
Hope versus despair.
And it's never really over.
Even after the Doctor sacrificed so much to end the Time War, they're still dealing with the consequences.
It's a reminder that some battles can never truly be won.
You can only delay them.
Or change them.
The Doctor's journey is kind of like that too.
How so?
Well, the Time War might be over, But it still affects everything the Doctor does.
You're right, it shapes their actions, their choices.
How they see the universe.
And how they interact with people.
The Time War is always there.
It's a reference point for understanding the Doctor.
Yeah, like a key to their character.
It shows us why they do what they do.
It's powerful stuff.
It really is.
But it also showing that even someone like the Doctor, who can travel through time, can't escape their past.
We're all shaped by our experiences, even the Doctor.
Okay, so we talked about the Doctor, the Daleks, but what about the Time Lords themselves?
What about them?
What did they think about the Time War?
Well, the Time Lords were a complex hunch. They weren't all on the same page.
So it wasn't just Time Lords versus Daleks?
Not exactly. There were disagreements, different factions, different opinions.
About how to handle the Daleks.
Yeah, some Time Lords even questioned their right to interfere with other species.
It shows that even the most advanced civilizations can have problems. Internal conflicts, power struggles.
And in the Time Lords' case, those divisions contributed to their downfall.
They couldn't agree on a plan, and the Daleks took advantage of that. It's kind of sad, really.
It is. They had so much potential, but they were brought down by their own infighting.
And now they're gone.
The Doctor is the only one left.
Carrying their legacy.
The good and the bad.
It's a lot to carry.
It's a reminder that power can be dangerous, and that compassion and understanding are important.
Especially in the universe filled with conflict.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today, our deep dive into the Time War.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, we really went deep.
Exploring this huge event.
And its impact on the Doctor.
Thank you for these incredible sources, and for joining us on this exploration.
We hope you learned something new about the Doctor, the Time War, and the universe they inhabit.
It's a fascinating universe.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to subscribe so you can catch our future explorations.
Into the world of Doctor Who.
And beyond.
Keep those sonic screwdrivers handy.
And never stop exploring.
The wonderments of the universe.
See you next time.